Hey everybody, how's it going? So I don't use Twitter much because it hurts my brain, but on occasion I log in because I have an account for the nonprofit, and this showed up in my recommended from jerryrigeverything. Somebody was commenting on his video and said, Jesus, almost 1 million views in less than 24 hours. I can't even imagine how much money this guy makes just from recording himself doing things we could only wish we could afford to do. How effing depressing. And he said, go back 8 years and look where I started. All my videos are still here. Don't get depressed, get to work. I started YouTube working on old Jeeps in my college dorm parking lot. Filmed a CV axle swap behind a tire shop at 3 a.m. in the winter with finals the next day. 9 years and 900 videos later, I get to work on some really fun projects. I'm not special, I just put in a lot of hours. Now, Zach is somebody that I was lucky enough to meet about 6 years ago. We got dinner in 2016, and he came by the shop. There's some old live stream video I have where he had stopped by. And he's pretty much in real life as you would expect from online. You know, he's a nice, polite, caring human being that, makes good conversation. We could talk about business, tech, whatever else. And I enjoyed meeting him. I think he's a good guy. And I'm very, very happy to see how massively successful he's become on this platform. He makes a lot of videos showing you how to open up a lot of different phones. And I'm confident there's a lot of people that would have otherwise been afraid to open their own devices that are now no longer afraid to open their own devices because they watch his stuff. And if he decides to make, videos about other things and people want to watch it, more power to him. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the mindset that this guy over here, Brandon Shorkey, has is actually a mindset that I had about 10 years ago when my business was fumbling around a little bit. And I wanted to talk about what that did and how I got out of this mindset and what happened as a result of it. So, back in 2008 and 2009, I had just started this business, and I had about maybe $100 or $200 a week in revenue. And I think I know what I was doing. I knew all the different parts to all the different MacBooks that I worked on by heart. I knew the difference between an LTN 133AT01, LP133WX1 TLA1, N133B. I knew pretty much every single part, every single supplier to get the best possible price so I could offer the best possible price to my customers, have no stuck pixels, give them a grade A part, and everything. And there was another gentleman who had started a business around the same time who was a bartender. He was kind of rude to other people in the industry. He didn't really know what he was doing very well. One of my personal favorites, and I can't get this to work because I don't have Flash, but I'll include a video down below, a link down below. He actually got featured on CNN, and he had replaced an iPhone 3 screen. And he was trying to swipe once he was done to unlock it. And you could see that he swiped about 3 or 5 times and it didn't unlock. And that's because he didn't plug the digitizer connector in properly. I know that he didn't plug it in properly because I would often get calls from his customers a day or two later after he did the repair saying, when I touch the screen, nothing is going on. And there's usually this little piece of foam on the iPhone 4 that you'd have to put on the digitizer connector because it wouldn't show up on the iPhone screens that you would get, so that the shield would push against it so that if you bumped the phone on an armrest or something, it wouldn't pop right back out, and he would never put that on there. And so it would always pop out. And you have to understand how nuts this drove me, that somebody was getting press, making probably $100,000 or $200,000 more than me a year. And in all of the press, he wasn't even fixing the device. And nobody cared. Like New York Times, CNN, everything else, and nobody cared. This wasn't somebody that I was particularly rooting for. He had offered me $80,000 to close my business in 2012 and implied that if I did not close my business, that, quote, you never know, the partners that we have may want to look into whatever you're doing or blah, blah, blah. And then, 6 months later, I wind up at New York's State Department of Collections at my door, going through all my stuff. I'm sure that was a coincidence, but whatever. You wasn't a particularly very, very liked individual in the industry. I remember there was a store that they had up, I think it was upstate or in Connecticut, that wound up literally just ripping his name off of it and just putting their own name on it. There was another store that opened right across the street from this one with all of his ex-employees working there after he had promised certain people raises that he never delivered. There's another guy in Brooklyn that started his own house call business that used to manage this one. And then it changed ownership 3 times and he left. But I remember looking at this and thinking, how unfair. You don't know how to fix an iPhone. And it's so unfair that you actually made it to CNN. You didn't fix the phone properly. It's on camera. and nobody cares. And your business still has about 5 times as much business as mine does anyway. And I remember the decisions that I made during that time. They were really stupid and horrible decisions. I wound up opening a new store in a similar area, it was just based on this ridiculous aggravation and jealousy that just made no sense. Anybody remembers this place that I had in Brooklyn almost 10 years ago that I wound up closing 6 months later? And I made a lot of really bad life decisions and business decisions as a result of having some sense of aggravation that somebody that I believed was successful, that shouldn't have been successful, was successful. And around the end of 2013 and the beginning of 2014, I made a lot of changes to my business and also my outlook on life. Some of the changes that I made were I changed our business's internal pricing structure a little bit. I changed some of the way that we dealt with customers. I closed this store that wasn't working properly. I closed my supply business that really was kind of dragging me down, even though I had high hopes for being able to make it recover. I started learning how to do board repair in-house around beginning of 2014. I got good enough at it that we stopped outsourcing it, and I started doing more of these videos. And again, a lot of the videos on my channel, to be clear, I have no idea why anybody watches this shit. Like, if you just go from the beginning to now, so many of these videos are just me screaming at a cloud and just really horrible quality. But I also started doing some higher quality ones over time. I have 624 board repair videos that are edited, a few hundred more live streams, whether it's not recognizing the SSD, why is the charger stuck at 5 volts, USB ports not working, no CPU vCore, sensor issue, battery issue, no video issue, no PP bus G3 hot, green light in the charger, all these different issues we went over. And the channel really, really blew up as a result of a lot of those videos combined with people liking some of the random screaming at cloud stuff. Now, one of the things that I think is important to focus on here is that as long as you focus on how unfair it is that somebody else is doing well, you're probably going to make life decisions that don't serve you. And the second thing I think it's important to focus on is that no matter how successful you are, there's almost always going to be somebody who's more successful when it doesn't particularly seem fair. So let's just take his channel. And to be clear, I think that he has earned and deserves the success that he has. Now, but to be clear, ignore this shit over here. This is stupid. Like, again, I love when people use the estimated earnings on Social Blade as if they mean something. This pretty much says he makes anywhere between what a lowest level employee at McDonald's makes to CEO. Yeah, sure. But what I'm looking at is this: video views. 1.4 million video views is what he has. And again, that's pretty good. That's way more than what my channel has. And again, he earned it and he deserves it. Now, at the end of the day, for all of the educational content that he has created, for all the people that now feel confident opening devices, who have figured out how to open their devices without breaking them because of years and years of tear-down videos and how-to content, he has likely made less money on this platform than a dude that throws things down stairwells and lights bugs on fire. I'm not kidding. He's deleted it, but there are videos that people have archived. This dude literally took innocent bugs and just decided to set them on fire on camera. Not kill them quickly in some way, not kill them because they invaded his house. He got them. He brought them into his studio and he lit them on fire. And with a margin of 400 views, it is safe to say that this guy has made more on YouTube than myself and Zach combined. You understand what I'm saying here? So even when somebody says, look how depressing this is, and kind of thinks to themselves, well, why bother? Why bother trying for something more? Why bother trying to make my own business or my own corner of the world better when it's so depressing at how somebody else is doing well, doing something I think is easy? When admittedly, I don't think it's easy to do what Zach does. I think the presentation, the way he takes everything apart, if it was that easy, everybody else would have been doing it. But at the end of the day, Zach could technically take the mindset that person has and say, after damn near 10 years of showing people how to do all of this stuff, I make less than a man that throws things down stairwells and sets bugs on fire. Wow, that's depressing. Why bother? Why make new content? Why tear down new devices? Why try to make an electric Hummer on my own? And what good would that mindset do? Would that serve him? Because the same mindset that is in place here could technically be put into place by Zach if he wanted to feel bad for himself by looking at this page. And I'm sure that there are probably many others, but admittedly, this is the best example that comes off the top of my head because I'm not used to seeing people that, that set bugs on fire on YouTube and wind up, again, retaining the millions of dollars they probably made from it. And again, what the real point I want to get at here is that the more time that you spend focusing on how depressing it is, at how seemingly unfair life is, the less time you're going to spend actually ensuring that it becomes fair. So my dad used to have this saying, and it was something like, life doesn't start fair, but it has a tendency to end fair. And what he meant by that was that as time goes on, as long as you focus and you grind and you focus on what you're doing, you focus on improving your own knowledge, you focus on improving your own place in life, that things will become more fair. They may not start fair, but they have a tendency to end fair. Now, this particular gentleman over here, who was, again, making hundreds of thousands of dollars hands over fist 12, 13 years ago, getting featured in the New York Times, CNN, every single blog, had a literal line out the door of people happy to pay him double what my rates were for service. At the time, had many of his employees who many of them told me, he promised me a raise, and then at the end of the year, he didn't give it to me and stuff like that. They started their own businesses. They left. Again, this YouTube channel over here is up to 1.7 million subscribers, and people around the world know who we are because we've made hundreds, probably closer to thousands if I count all the live streams, videos on how to repair all your own stuff. All these playlists here are freely available, and very few people know what that business is. And it was sold 2 or 3 times for pennies in the dollar, and now, again, he doesn't make money from it anymore. And again, when somebody says, I'm so mad that you opened, I'll give you $80,000 to close, and if you don't do it, maybe my partners are going to look into everything that you're doing and I can't say what happens kind of shit. I'm usually not happy when people fail or are not very successful, but I can't say I was particularly, I can't say I had a tear in my eye when this place wound up going down the tubes. And, in all the time that I spent thinking, man, I need to catch up. I need to beat this place. I need to, it's not fair. Why it's not fair that they're here. It really poisoned my mind and caused me to make some of the worst decisions that I've ever made in my life. When I think about the business decisions that I made between 2009 and 2013, I really just want to get in a time machine with a baseball bat and just start beating myself with it. Seriously. Because there's such a chance that if I wasn't focused on this mindset, which is so easy to fall into because it really does appeal to your sense of vanity and narcissism, and it kind of makes you feel like you have a defense against what you haven't accomplished. If I hadn't had this mindset from 2009 to 2013, maybe I'd be a multimillionaire by now. Really, maybe I'd have 5 stores. Maybe I'd have 100 stores. Maybe I'd have one shop that has 100 or 1,000 employees instead of, one shop in Midtown that costs $5,000 or $7,000 a month more now than it did before I moved with less business than pre-pandemic. I can't say what I would have had. Maybe I'd have a YouTube channel with 5 or 10 million subscribers. I don't know. But what drives me nuts is not just that people have this mindset, but knowing that I had this mindset and knowing how much more I could have likely accomplished if I didn't spend 5 years viewing the world through this lens. Somebody else was able to make money when I think that they're not really a great person or not necessarily somebody who earned it. And man, that's depressing. So I'm not going to put in the work or the effort that I should, and I'm going to make stupid choices based on spite or jealousy. If I didn't have that, I would be so much better off right now. And I'm not. And I earned that for myself by being a fool. So hopefully this video helps somebody out. If you do have this type of mindset over here, I hope that you take his advice, look back to his original videos, look where he started. Again, I'm not trying to rag on the guy, but again, if you just go to his original videos, it's not like this shit was, I really don't want to rag on him because he makes really good content. But like most people that start on YouTube, I mean, there's nothing particularly amazing or high quality about these early videos. I mean, these are early. This is the aspect ratio of this is a square. This looks like it was done in Windows Movie Maker. This really has a very Windows Movie Maker vibe to it. No stabilization, no special stuff, no external microphone, no high definition. It's really how most people start out, but he just kept fucking uploading, kept making shit, kept uploading, kept iterating, kept getting slowly better over time, slightly better audio, slightly better video, slightly less shaky, slightly better camera angles, slightly better vocal presentation, slightly more interesting, a little bit more jokes tossed in every now and now, and just kept iterating. I remember watching his channel really a long time ago back in the day, and I forget which one of these videos it was, but there's one of these videos here that has like a couple of them in a row that had a 30 or a 40% dislike rate because people were really just mad at the presentation or mad at the camera angle, mad that he didn't show something that they thought he should have showed. And did he say, I'm going to stop making it? No, he just kept going and going and going and going and making them. And I mean, now the videos that he makes are insanely professional. He's got that, the whole super presenter voice going on and all that stuff. And I think his stuff is cool. I watch it from time to time, and I'm happy for him. So that's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Don't wallow in your self-pity, because again, the longer you have this mindset, regardless of how depressing you may think it is, regardless of how depressed you may feel, the longer you have this mindset, the more likely you are to wallow in it, make shitty business decisions, make shitty life decisions. And the moment you stop focusing on this and you start focusing on what you can do to get your own life forward, the better off you'll be. Because again, even if you're jealous of Jerry Rig Everything, even if you're jealous of what he does, remember, at the end of the day, for all the work he's done, for all the education he's created, for all the work that he puts into his content, he has probably made less money off of YouTube than a guy that throws shit off of stairwells and lights cockroaches on fire. Like, I mean, that's the God's honest truth. And the thing about this mindset is it doesn't matter how high up you are in life, you could always have this mindset. It's completely scalable and continue to be depressed. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.